Hey, welcome back to IR Insight Live. We're here at the NERI 2018 Annual Conference at the Wynn Las Vegas. I'm Will Briganti from Nasdaq, your host, and joining me as my guest is Rob Bradley. He's Vice President of Investor Relations at Nasdaq-listed LogMeIn, and in addition to that, he's also the chapter of the NERI Boston chapter. You're the president of the NERI Boston chapter.
Yes, it's a great honor. It's an honor to be here at the conference. Also, an honor to represent Boston. Shout out to some of the people watching, maybe who are from Boston chapter members, the second largest chapter of NERI.
That's right,
and the oldest. But yeah, so nice to see you, Will. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, Rob. So you've been a NERI longtime member. You're an IRC. What are some of the key takeaways that you've seen here, key themes that you've seen here at the conference so far this year?
Sure, and I always encourage people who are in this industry to spend time at this event because to me it's the world's leading conference of bringing together subject matter experts, but also professional experts. And so when I come here, I like to keep kind of current on, in many ways, an evolving industry, whether it's with the rise of ESG, whether it's the rise in passive, whether it's rising interest rates. There's always things that are changing, and so you can learn from your peers, you can learn from your sponsors, you can learn from people who have been through it before, who might be more tenured. And so I've really had a couple of things that I've kind of got validation from others that's happening. One is this with the evolution or the introduction of MiFID II. Earlier this year, there's really having a significant impact on both research and the cost therein and the value of it, the associated value, along with access. And how is that changing the dynamic about companies engaging with shareholders and how that is, how they're paying for it, how the investors are paying for it. And so it's really been interesting to not only have my own kind of experience this year, seeing it work through our industry and how we engage with our owners and potential owners, but then hearing from other professionals in the space who are also, can help corroborate and strategize about how do we kind of maximize targeting, maximize meeting time, management time. That's all one of probably the biggest things that has been valuable for me these last 2 days.
Awesome. You did mention MiFID II. That started in January, so we're about 6 months in. So you mentioned that you're starting to, folks in the industry are getting used to this. They're starting to see what the impact could be on a research or coverage perspective. So what have you at LogMeIn done to get ahead of that?
Sure. So, it's going to, there is I would say consensus of people, at least on my side of the table, professional investor relations officers who think that there's going to be some meaningful contraction in the sell side community. And so there's various estimates that people put out there. But what that does for people is if you're a company like us with 12 analysts, does that look like 6 in a year? Or is it 9? Or does it stay the same? Does it grow? So there's, I would say, consensus thinks that there'll be some contraction. Nobody's quite clear how much. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that I'm proactive in my engagement with investors, and I'm not just relying. Of course, you have to rely on your good analysts and to help be your amplifier, your megaphone. But you can't just do that. You have to also be crafting a targeting program. You have to also have to be crafting a kind of engagement so that if there are fewer people helping get your story out there, that there isn't all of a sudden a big contraction in interest or knowledge of your company. But there's other things that I'm sure we'll continue to have to, you always have, good programs in investor relations are constantly improving. And so we strive to do that LogMeIn in the Boston chapter of NERI. And so, we'll continue not just to stay still, but continue to try to focus on improvement.
My final question for you, Rob, is Boston continues to be a pretty big source in the capital markets for new public companies. So I think at Nasdaq alone, so far this year, we have probably 6 or 7 companies from the region that have gone public. So for those investor relations officers, what should they know about in terms of the NERI Boston chapter? How can they get involved?
Oh, sure. Well, so what I appreciate about that question was it was not only a plug for NERI Boston, but it seems like we got Nasdaq in there too. So well done. So Boston is going through a renaissance right now, and it's an exciting time to be there. So as I wasn't born in Boston, I was born overseas, but moved there when I was 7, and it's exciting to see being a finalist for Amazon's second headquarters, also having the new IPOs, had some really good, both not just tech as well, but tech, which is very near and dear to me. And so the Boston chapter is the place where you can go get knowledge, you can go network, you can go learn about the professionals in your industry that might have experiences that you don't. So we try to work really hard on putting good programming in, but I would certainly encourage anybody who hasn't been to our events to kind of look us up. and we'd love to host them. But
Car Gurus,
yes,
Black, all those folks.
yes,
get in touch with Rob.
Yeah, thank you
All
very
right.
much. So, Will, really
very much.
appreciate you having
Absolutely.
me, and look forward to continued success for both of us.
Awesome. Thank you so much,
Awesome.
Rob. Ladies and
Awesome.
gentlemen,
Thank
Rob
you.
Bradley from LogMeIn. Thank you so
Thanks.
much for tuning into IR Insight Live. We'll be back soon.